So we all know how important it is to back up your data if you're a home computer user. So I'm going to take a look at a few ways that I've done that over the years. Now, back in the early days, it was about 20, 25 years ago, this is what I had for my storage. This stored a whopping 1.44 megabytes of data. Now, today, this would be almost completely useless. But back then, it was very important. It could store word processing files, data files, audio files, and it did a pretty good job of that. See, back then, there was no digital photography to speak of. We did not have smartphones, right? We didn't have ways of doing video except on a cassette tape. So there really wasn't a need to store large amounts of data digitally. So this was perfectly fine for us. We got by with that for quite a while. And after a while, these things started to come out. I remember when the music ones came out, what a technological wonder that was. You could listen to music without scratches in it, without skipping. Crystal clear music you could get from these, but they had another use. They could store data. If you were lucky enough to have a CD-ROM drive that could write onto these, and they were pretty expensive when they first came out, you could store hundreds of megabytes of data on these. So that was the next evolution. It was a little bit tricky. You had to use special software to do it, but you could store tons of stuff on it. Photographs, videos, audio files, anything. So it was a great way to back up your data, especially since older computers weren't really as reliable as they are today. So time moved on. We got introduced to USB with computers, so we could install all kinds of external devices. And then came this, the external hard drive. Pretty heavy, weighs a couple of pounds, requires a USB cable and a power source, so you had to plug these into the wall. But you could store gigabytes of data on these, and it was pretty quick. So this was like a revolution, and these weren't really that expensive. You could store a ton of stuff on here. Perfect as you started to film videos with your new smartphone. Where you're going to put it all? You put it on one of these. So technology advances a little more, and we got this. This is like a laptop hard drive put in this little case. You plug it into a USB port on your computer, can store gigabytes of data. And one of the main advantages of this is you don't have to plug in a power cord anymore. It takes power right from USB drive. So it's even more convenient. It's very light, very portable, much better than the giant external drives of the past. So this is the next evolution. So now we come to today. What's the big thing today? These tiny little thumb drives. They can also store gigabytes of information. Ultra portable, no external power required. You plug it in, so tons of videos, movies, music, anything you can imagine can be stored on these. A great, convenient way to store your data. So what's the next big evolution in storing your data? Well, it's the cloud. You can store your data on the cloud. Unlimited storage. The only disadvantage is you got to pay for it. You usually have to pay a monthly or yearly subscription. Microsoft will give you some free storage, but it's really not enough to store very much. So you have to pay for a subscription. In my opinion, you're better off with a thumbnail drive because you have unlimited free storage. They're very inexpensive now. So take a thumbnail drive over this. But that's just me. So those are some of the various ways that I've stored data over the years. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.